All right, so today we're going to be talking about Pluton, the king of the underworld. And this is a character that I get requested a lot to talk about. And, aside from just talking about how powerful he is, which of course we're going to get into, I also want to go into who this character is as a whole, how he came to be and what his backstory within the actual show and the series could be as well. Now, let me also state that this guy is exclusive to the anime, and not only that, but he was created by Murata. Yeah, that's right, Murata is just the illustrator of the One Punch Man manga. One is the actual creator of the series, and he does all of the dialogue and all of the storyboards for the manga and all of that stuff. So this guy is double non-canon, if you will, but he is a part of the series nonetheless. So we're going to have to take all of this with a grain of salt, including his absurd feats of power, but we're still going to examine it anyway because it's pretty fun and, you guys like when I do that stuff, so let's get into it. So as stated, this guy's moniker is the King of the Underworld, and this goes into the recurring theme of monsters that we've seen throughout Season 1, which are the king of something. Now, I've talked about this stuff more in depth in my video, how powerful is the ancient king, where I go into the lore of the kings of stuff in the One Punch Man world, and I actually didn't talk about Pluton in that video. So he's the king of the underworld. So, we talked about the surface, the subterraneans, but I guess this guy is going underneath the subterraneans. So anyway, yeah, king of the underworld. May or may not be hell, whatever. I know that Pluto is the Roman god, the ruler of the underworld, so that's why Pluton is a play on that. Gotcha. Okay, so the reason for this guy coming out to the surface is because of humans and what they have done to the earth and everything. And this is also a recurring theme for monsters in the series. We saw that Vaccine Man. He was given birth from the will of the earth because of all the pollution and all that stuff, and we've seen other monsters come out and stuff like that too. Now, I'm not going to go into spoilers in this video for the webcomic, but I will say that the overall lore for monsters existing is tied to what the humans have done to the environment. So I'll just say that for now, but also, it gives more credence for the existence of Pluton. He's not, we can't just chalk him up completely to being just this absurd character. He does kind of fit into the, the canonical mythology of this universe. So that's kind of cool that he's fitting into there. So now let's go into the power of this guy. And let me just put it out there in case you're not aware of this for some reason. Pluton is easily one of the strongest characters ever in this series. Top 10 quite easily, and it is just based off of just what we've seen of him. We haven't really seen him in action, and I'll get into what he can possibly be doing with his abilities that's causing this destruction. But let's just take a look at his body of work here. So just this one still frame that they show of the path of destruction that he caused is crazy. And like I said, this one panel, this one frame right here proves that he is one of the strongest monsters, just one of the strongest characters to ever grace this series, even currently in the webcomic. This type of power is not common to this series. Now, we do see a lot of powerful characters, but they're more so powerful because of who they can defeat and what is said about them and stuff like that. But with Pluton, we're just seeing absurd raw power here. And of course, you're thinking okay, this is very similar to Beefcake. And let me also say that Beefcake is almost kind of non-canon. Of course, he shows up in the manga as well, but his feats and his size in the anime is just blown out of proportion. The anime took a lot of liberties with making things really extreme. That's also another reason why Season 1, I think, was so popular and successful, because they did make everything so extreme to make Saitama seem that much more powerful and just to make it more entertaining. And they really, went out of their way with Pluton at the end of the series because, we're coming off of the Boros fight with Saitama, so we have to show that Saitama is still just as strong as ever, being able to take out Pluton the way that he did, and we'll get into that, of course, because I'm going to examine that way too much, way deeper than anyone should, but he is similar to Beefcake's feats of power, one more time, which are not the same as what they are in the manga. There's only really one feat that Beefcake does that is similar to the manga, when we see the aftermath of him waving his hand and blowing away a portion of that city. But if just comparing that to what Pluton is doing here or has done, Pluton is even more impressive than that. So it's possible that Pluton is even stronger than Beefcake. I know that's kind of difficult to think about because he was already absurd at that point. So we casually throw around terms like City Busters and Continent Buster and Multi-Continental and all that stuff. But I think it's fair to say with Pluton that he's quite literally a city buster here. I mean, he's not completely wiping away the city as we've seen, but he probably could if he was given enough time because, I mean, he's taken out a what? I mean, we can't see the full scope of the city here, but I don't know, half of it maybe more than that. I don't know, maybe 3/5 of the city. I don't know. It's crazy. Like I'm saying, this is not typical. So if anyone is a quote unquote city buster, it is definitely Pluton here. And also we got to point out that the cities in One Punch Man are bigger than typical cities because, you know, civilization kind of all came together into this supercontinent. And basically all of civilization lives here. Like, it's implied that all of the population, or at least like 90% of it, lives here. So the cities are bigger. And of course, they're like allocated to the alphabet and all of that stuff. Okay, so how is this guy attacking? Like, how did he cause all of this destruction? Well, he's just huge, of course. I mean, he's like the size of Beefcake pretty much, I guess. Anime Beefcake. And also he has like a pitchfork and like a machete, so we can assume that those are like his standard methods of attack that can probably cause mass amounts of damage if he swings them. But also for like a brief second, we see him like inhaling or exhaling, and he has like debris coming out of his nose. So maybe he has like a massive like inhale attack, like he could just suck in like a mass vicinity into his nose possibly. Because even if you like look at the area of effect coming in front of him, it looks, it's like splitting off. So maybe that's like accounting for his two nostrils possibly. I mean, also, you know, the path behind him is way bigger than the path in front of him. So maybe he did like it multiple times or something. But also, you know, we're reading too much into this. They kind of just made it to look extreme. So he could have really did whatever he wanted. He could have like farted and blew away all of this. So we've got his power established. He's like city busting levels of power. Like we can equate his strength to like something that we've seen at Beefcake. So I mean, he's already established as a dragon. Let's just put that out there. They say it straight up in the series, so we don't have to guess, even though we weren't going to guess demon or anything like that. But also, you know, maybe some of us think that he's above dragon. And let's get into that. So what could deem this guy an above dragon? Because he already has the power that's flirting with that level of power. I mean, like, this is like way more than what a low and mid could do. So we have to straight up say that he's at least a high dragon. In my opinion, like, this type of power is definitely high dragon, like, but it also could be above dragon, because I've already said that Beefcake was a high dragon, but they didn't exactly establish him above dragon, and I'm pretty much going to do the same thing for Pluton here, mainly for the same reason as Beefcake, and that's because of his demise at the hands of Saitama, or should I say hand, or fist of Saitama, because he only is taken out by one punch from Saitama. And usually, above dragons can take, like, multiple punches from Saitama, or at least, I don't know, just have a better showing than what Pluton is here. Now, I will give Pluton credit in that the effort of the punch that Saitama gives him seems to be what he classifies as a quote-unquote normal punch, you know, like the punch that he gives to Orochi when he specifically says it is a normal punch, you know, way more of an effort than what he's giving to like somebody like Vaccine Man, because look at, you know, Saitama's face here. He's clearly putting effort into it. So, I mean, we got that going for him, but again, his head is exploding, which, you know, Beefcake's head didn't explode, and that's what I always talk about on this channel. It's somewhat of a meme, but at the same time, it is somewhat of a way to distinguish the durability between these crazy powerful characters. So we've got Pluton head exploding, Beefcake doesn't, so I guess Beefcake might have a higher level of durability than him. And then that brings us to, like, how does Pluton stack up with the rest of the characters? And I would say that based off of this, and us not knowing enough about him, like, we don't know what his speed's like. We don't really know what his overall durability would be like dealing with somebody else. But, I mean, given that that his head is exploding from taking a punch from Saitama, we could assume that, you know, he probably wouldn't be at the very top of the power scale. Now, just taking a guess here, and I don't want to be too generous with Pluton, so I will not regulate him to above dragon, just because I don't think it's fair, you know, because we don't know enough, and given that his head is exploding, I think he should just be a high dragon. Like, I think that's fair, right? High dragon, I mean, come on, this feats of power right here, I think, proved that. But aside from that, I mean, you know, we don't need to go any higher than that. And that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Once again, I went way too in-depth into this than you would have to, but it's just for fun. It's just to entertain, which is what I aim to do. So if you liked the video, if you were entertained, please give it a like. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. And I also have a Patreon. Gives you access to a weekly Q&A. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.